Just let my autofocus catch up.
I've put the timer on, so.
Awesome. Right.
Cool.
I think we're ready
Hi,
to go. Hi, how you doing? Long time no speak.
I know. It's not like we just spoke for like an hour today.
No, I mean this requires clearly no planning, no setup.
No.
Just happens as if by magic.
That would definitely be a lie. I'm not gonna.
we can't start with a lie, so.
No.
Hello again.
I definitely think we need to talk about the fact that we were basically attacked and like even trying to plan it, because that didn't
it's funny, ain't it? Because you spend so much time thinking of new projects and things that you want to do, and you know that the hardest thing about it are these small steps forward towards your goals, and then you start to take these little steps and there's always obstacles in the way that you just have to rise above. And it was the same for us with this. We did like a tester earlier, so go to use the Mac and then the mouse stops working, restart the Mac, mouse starts working, keyboard stops working, needs to go into the shop. But you just gotta kind of let it all breeze through you, and be like, if that's the games that are being played today, that's fine. It's not gonna stop us from carrying on.
It's funny because in the past I would have taken that as a sign of like, oh, it's not meant to be, and like, because we keep facing, you know, obstacles, whether it's like you having to like be calling to work, or like suddenly your mouse and stuff aren't working. And I found the same with I started teaching adult ballet, as you know, and like there was so many obstacles. Like I don't really get ill, and like I just kept getting ill, so I had to keep cancelling. And then the key for the building wasn't there, and so many roadblocks. And at first I was like, maybe this isn't meant to be, and I was like, no. All I heard in my head was keep moving forward, because it felt too right. Like it, I don't know, like it came to me easily, the space came easily, and even if I was struggling with the amount of people turning up or coming into the place of being healthy, and even other people like coming because, I don't know, they're struggling with mental health or their family or whatever it is. And just, I remember saying when I first started, again, speaking of intentions, like I was like, right, my intention is that even if no one books, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna use the space, because then I'm showing the world that this is worthwhile, and it'll become something. And there's obviously a part of your brain that's just like, you're just in denial. But I don't think it is, because there's all these thoughts, but actually if it feels right and it's somehow bringing joy or it's helping one person, then just doing the right thing. Like, just keep moving forward. And it shows that you, even if like I have 2 people show up, I'm like, well, that shows that I respect them and that I'm committed to them. You know?
Exactly. I think there's always obstacles in kind of everything that you pursue. It's just how do you deal with them and what do you learn from them. Like, everything's a lesson. Like, even at work, because it's only been, I think I've been a supervisor at work for like a week and a half now, like officially. And on that first day when everything went wrong, you know, I was promoted, my manager was like sick on the floor, had to go home, so I'm on my own. By the end of the day there's like a bar fight going on, and it's all in the first day. And like, I could have taken that as a sign, like, is this meant for me? Or you can look at it the other way of, okay, I've got through everything that I could possibly get through in this role that would be seen as like extreme, and I've survived it, I've pushed on, I kept going, and I know that I'm capable of handling that situation now. So it's like, it just depends which way you look at things, I guess. There's always obstacles, you just gotta go through it. And it's like you with your dance, like you're saying, like, you know, if even one person comes and I make a difference, it's like the same reason why we wanted to just record our conversations, because if one person listens in and is like, oh, like, you know, I get something from that, then great. Like, that's the only reason to do anything, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, it was like, it helps us talking. Like, honestly, I was thinking about it because we hadn't spoken in a while, and I was like in a weird fog last week, and I was like, I just need to speak to someone, and I was like, I need to speak to Mike. Like, because we were always just so helpful to each other, and it's not like therapy, it's just kind of like we think in the same way, so it makes you feel less insane.
Oh, for sure. I love our chats because it's just like when you find anyone that's just kind of like, we've got quite similar backgrounds and similar things that we've kind of been dealing with and going through, so when you're like vulnerable with somebody else about yourself and you can connect on those levels, it's like great. That's what you need to do, but you've got to kind of like put yourself out there to even find that and have those kind of chats, and they're always so inspiring and helpful to me. Like when we just sit and talk like this, I'm very grateful for them. I really am. There's so many things that you say that make me think like, oh, I could do that, or I could look at this, or, you know, just that restructuring of how I'm even going through my day-to-day life. Like if you don't collaborate with other people, you're not giving yourself an opportunity to do that and to grow and to learn, and you don't have to do it all on your own.
Literally. And also, I had to adjust my camera a couple of times, so we're gonna have to say hi to the people who might watch it, because even though we said we'd like it would be between us, there is this kind of like fourth wall, and it's gotta be broken. So yeah, don't mind me just changing the settings. I hope that doesn't bother anyone. No,
this I think this is just legitimately like the start of a project and getting everything set up and making sure it all works how you want it to work, and you know, welcome to the start of a new project.
But I feel like that needed to be said, because otherwise I was literally already carrying like this perfectionist brain, and it was like shame scratching at me, and I was like, no, like that is not it. That is not my message. I don't want to carry that, and I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's good to just kind of, okay, we'll just talk about it. We're human beings, and like it's such a small little thing, and the fact that it can like weigh so heavy on you is just crazy.
I know, right? Where are we gonna start officially with our structure? Are we gonna do cards? And
well, what were you listening to? What were you jamming to? You said you were jamming to some stuff after we've spoken.
Do you know, I probably spent like an hour just jamming before this. I feel like music's just it's the only thing that I can just really lose myself in and raise myself up with. And I was gonna go for another song, but there's a new song that really stood out to me, and it's called Sun Comes Up by an artist called Shensia. So at the moment, I think I already said, like, my older brother is so amazing with music, and he just finds the most obscure stuff from all over the world, and at the moment he's doing like different countries, so like each week I'll get a different country's playlist, and at the moment it's just,
that's so cool.
I love it, and like it's like a gift each week for me. And at the moment we're doing Jamaica, so my brother's put together a Jamaican playlist. So Shensia is from Jamaica, and I just find the whole vibe of that sort of music really uplifting and really spiritual, and I didn't know that before. And that song in particular, I think if you give it a listen, it kind of reflects the themes of like becoming your own leader and that kind of potential. And like when I heard it earlier, I was like, this is the vibe right now. Like this is the vibe.
Yeah.
And I think you would really love it if you gave it a listen as well.
Sweet. Wow. We'll have it on our playlist.
Yes, it will be on our Brew playlist, which I'm so excited about as well, because it'd just be so fun.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's mainly just for us. Let's be real.
We like, there's so much music that we send each other. It's actually just like, why are we not putting this in a playlist so we could like vibe?
Should have definitely started off like sooner, but that's really cool that your brother's doing that, like with the whole countries, different country stuff. I think that's so important, because different countries really do hold like a different energy.
Oh yeah.
And even if you can't travel, maybe you're not like financially able, you can still travel through music, which I think is really, really cool.
Oh, and naturally you get into the culture, so it's great.
Yes, especially if you like even watch like the music videos and stuff like that. I love it.
So have you got a song that you're vibing with?
Yeah, so actually I forgot that I had the CD, but basically this song came up when it was like my last day working at this clothes shop, and I work on my own there, and I made a playlist. This actually inspired me to make the playlist before I left for them, and I was like, let's make a feel good playlist for them. And it is by Simon Webb, and it is called No Worries.
Oh.
And the album which I bought is called Sanctuary. But basically I went to this charity shop. I had time to kill, and this is a usual thing, is like I have time to kill, and I'm like, instead of complaining and being like, oh god, I'm bored, what am I gonna do, I just kind of get drawn to places, just walk. And then this charity shop, I was like, oh, I could go in there, it's close to that place while I wait for my photos to be developed. And I go in, and there's all these CDs, and it's clearly been dumped by like one family or one person, and it's like old hip hop and R&B and soul, like great stuff. And then I literally had a stack like this big, they're all £1 each. And I was like, I think, I need to stop picking them out. And then I just felt drawn again. I was like, no, I just need to look through here. And then I found this. And a guy I'm actually seeing as well, this song came on for him as well. So I sent it to him. And as I was sending it, I had my headphones in, and it came on shuffle. So I highly recommend listening to that, because you'll get it from the first instant, the first lines. It's just a message that everything's gonna be okay, and any songs like that at the moment is what I'm drawn to, like that just say you're gonna be good, you're safe, and life's not, it shouldn't be a war necessarily, even if you're going through like hardships. Obviously it depends what kind of hardships, some are more tricky, but
there's a song for everything.
I don't know, I feel like it's a personal thing as well, because everyone goes through different cycles. So like right now I'm going through, I don't know, it's coming out of a dark place. So even now I can hear my brain being like almost apologizing for like starting to go into a good place, which is strange. Yeah, I think that's what's kept me down for a long time, is the fear of letting people leaving people in the dark place, but that's their journey.
True. I just think as well, with everything that's kind of being thrown out externally in the world, like obviously everything that's going on, I've just been drawn to anything that uplifts me and keeps me in that energy of wanting to carry on this self journey and building, and anything that's going to inspire me in that way I want to listen to. I don't want to listen to anything that's like really down at the moment. Not there's a place for it, but I've like actually found myself in really high energy music. I think probably because of the spring again. Like I think we were saying, like I really have felt the transition into spring this year. Like the first daffodil blooms, and I'm feeling it on that day. Like I can feel a shift, and then I see that, and then the music, because my brother's been sending me like Brazil and Jamaica, like everything. Like Brazil's so high energy, and I'm like, it just seems like a full-on like party in the streets there. Like that's just the kind of energy I'm in right now, and I'm grateful for it, in spite of kind of the way I feel like I'm being told to feel by other sources right now. It's just nice to still break through that.
It's funny because like if you look at, and it's like Brazilian, Colombian, Africa, like the whole of Africa except maybe South, but there's still a lot of problems in the South, and like Jamaica and stuff. What do they all have in common is that they've all have really dark ancestral trauma, and they've all had to evolve at a much faster level in terms of saying, hey, like I choose happiness over sinking down and like letting this get to us, because it's just the way of their life. It was their way of life, whether it's through racism or government. I mean, most of it is racism, most of the places, or government trying to shut up the people basically. So they've had to find a way through music, through dance, through simple joys of community to like come together and find happiness no matter what. That's their way of rebellion, and I think it's really, really beautiful.
Oh yeah, I love that you can hear that they're really choosing life in the music, you know? Like it's very like, you can imagine that being played to a massive group of people, like especially Brazilian music. It's so high energy and just makes you move. Like, you know that people are listening to that in groups on a beach or in a club or in the streets, and you're like, that's choosing life. Like, you're in amongst it of other people, and like that's what I'm really drawn to at the moment. I think probably with like the last couple of years and all of the segregation and lockdowns is making me feel a pull even more to that. Like, I want to choose to live my life. I don't want to be kind of locked away or, you know, locked in this virtual world. I want to be out there living, feeling the energy myself, you know.
Literally, like actually choosing your reality rather than. But I was the same. Like, we were the same, weren't we? We were just like in hermit energy for a good 2 years.
Yeah, literally. Like, right, we got a transfer
if
over
not
the cocoon. Yeah, real like cocoon vibe, like building a foundation.
Yeah, and to be honest, you have to allow that phase, that cycle to complete, because, like, let's say, I mean, the world wouldn't have allowed this anyway, but if we tried to do this at any other point, it just wouldn't have worked, and we wouldn't have been the right state of mind to even, like, be seen.
Yeah, for sure.
It just wasn't time.
I just feel like that death and rebirth energy is something that I've been noticing more in my own life, just like the cycles of how things are kind of operating. And it's like I was saying, like at the start, about that first day of me being a supervisor and everything that happened and that massive fight, and I had to call the police, like all of this kind of chaotic energy. But I got to see like who I was in that situation now, like how do I handle myself, and it didn't even change in that environment, and it was good to see it. It was good to know that I can handle those energies. But right at the end of it, I was speaking to the guy that owns the place that I work at, and he used the term initiation of fire, and I was like, this is it. Like, I'm literally in this energy of rising from that ashes, like the death of the old self and coming forth as who I truly am. Like, and even the symbolism replicated it on the day. And there was a girl that started a child shift called Rita, which is my grand's name, who was a very spiritual woman. Kind of that came up. The first people I ever served were in there at the same time on my own child shift. They'd come in with their family. I was like, all of it was so symbolic and connected. I was just like, yeah, I can see that this is like a death rebirth sort of energy, and it's just cool to be able to consciously see that, and see that me going on this journey of figuring myself out, I can see it playing out in my environment through these energies now, and that's just great to see. Gets you excited about what's to come and what's next.
Yeah, it is super exciting. And it's funny because, like, I don't know if you're the same, but it's the rebirth, like, it's like we've just come out.
Yeah, just
like little babies and feeling the sun on our face for the first time, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, and there's still kind of like memories of being in the womb, like being in the darkness. Like for me, just before we got on here, you know, you had like, I feel like it was spiritual warfare in terms of your technology and stuff. For me, I started getting headaches, and every thought, the things my mind had attached itself to, like worrying about whether people like me, certain people, and like situations that happened last week, I thought I let those go, and then suddenly they just rose out, and I just sat with them, and I was like, not true. Not true. I am not allowing this to sink me right now, because I need to be in a high energy, and to let something that isn't even true to do it to you, like you're literally giving power over and being like, okay, you can sink my ship.
But this is like,
I believe you.
this is like the thing in it. It's like we know, I think at this point, that we need kind of change to grow. But when you come up against your current like limits or boundaries, you can feel it. And like even us doing this is so vulnerable for us to, I guess, record like a conversation that we'd have with each other, because we know that we're being really vulnerable with each other and talking about the things that we talk about. And then we both have kind of felt us coming up against that wall in slightly different ways. I've had all the issues with the tech, you've had the headaches, and it's like, it's because we're right on the precipice of starting like a new pattern for ourselves, and you can feel it so viscerally in your space, like everything speaks to it. And it's like, so what are you gonna do? Are you gonna push forward, or are you gonna stay where you are? And like you always see that choice like ahead of you in that moment. It's like we said, we were like, we're gonna still record this, like it's not gonna stop us from pushing through. And I'm glad that we have that perspective now, because it's like you said, in the past I might have thought, oh, that's a bad omen, but really you're just allowing yourself to stay just where you are and stay in the pattern that you're in. So it's like you've got to make that choice to be like, no, I'm gonna go through this. Actually,
it's just a little hurdle. Like you need the end goal to be like, nah, shit, it's just a hurdle. It's just a hurdle. Like we'll get over it and we'll find a way. And it was the same with we got to talk about this. I don't know if it was for you, but like basically we put our cameras on the opposite side of each other, and funnily enough, we both don't like the opposite side of our faces, and we'd originally decided on that side. And when I was watching that back, my God, the insecurities, the thoughts, like everything, like it was like, who do you even think you are? Your voice sounds horrible. Your face looks so weird. You don't even have a jawline. Your nose looks huge. Like it was everything. And I was like, geez, like I haven't thought about myself like this in a while because I've been working on it. And it was all there, like in one, just attacking me. And I was like, this is not nice. So the way we went around, I was like, let's just swap it, and then
you
it won't go.
It
won't go away completely, but
it's just catering to what you're comfortable to, ain't it? And like even for me, I think there's a couple things I wanted to say then. Like when you say a lot, like just take that pause and take that breath. Like I do that in a lot of spaces. Even with that, like I didn't like that video, but I took a pause and then I came back to it, looked at it, and I was like, okay, I can see, it's like I'm seeing it through new eyes now. It doesn't look as bad as I first perceived it. This is something that I've learned with my body dysmorphia growing up though, and photos of me. Like I take a photo of me, I take a step back, I come back to it, and then I can see it for what it is and accept it and embrace it, and you know. But if I, in that first moment, I know that I can't quite see it, so it's just taking that step back and not being like really reactive and allowing that to kind of come in. And even like how you text me that, you're like, should we just swap it? Like you're so, like whenever we speak, there's so many things that I don't even tell you, but the way that you kind of just are like, let's just do it like this, or let's just relax, or let's just flow it that way, it always helps me, because that's what I want to do as well, but I don't want to let the other person down or make it, you know what I mean? So like it's just so good to take that pause and be like, let it flow, it'll be fine, take a breath, just get through the hurdle and just, you know, slow yourself down.
To be honest, like the reason I'll say it is because if I'm more comfortable, that person's gonna be more comfortable. And I also knew you said this isn't my best side, so I was like, well, he's probably feeling the same way. So usually whenever I like speak out on stuff, it's always because I know that the other person probably, usually it literally is always the case, is that they don't mind. They go, oh yeah, actually I felt the same way too. And it's the same when I'm creating anything. But I agree with you kind of change your mindset and kind of look at it from a different perspective, because like especially when I do photography, I've seen like the world in a different way, because I'll do nightclub photography and there's girls that I'm like, wow, I'm always like jealous of, because I'm like, wow, they're so pretty and they look amazing, they literally look like dolls. And then they're always the ones that if I say, would you like a photo, they either completely say no, run away from the camera, or if I take a photo of them, they straight away just like go, like they disgusted by themselves. And if they think they're ugly, then like what is my mind doing? And then those girls the ones who I do take photos of, and they just enjoy it. They're in joy of the photo because it's what you focus on. Do you just focus on your face, or do you focus on the whole image? Do you focus on the memory, the feeling? And also I think there's like a beauty in accepting your flaws. There's kind of like acceptance of like, I think this is quite difficult at the moment in terms of like so many people on social media, you know, everyone's getting like literally the same nose or the same body, and that's not great.
Not very
because
diverse.
you can't like say, oh, I'm human and I got to accept that imperfection that the society deems as imperfection, but I'm gonna learn to love it. And that's literally a life lesson, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And like a main thing that helped me in that area is one of my friends, B, she's like a life coach, and she was teaching me the concept of body neutrality rather than it needing to be positive. So you can just, because like if you're trying to like love everything about yourself when you're not in that space, it just ends up becoming really overwhelming, and you just oscillate and have these big mood swings in behavior of where you're at. So she was just like, you know, if you think about your body in ways of like what it does for you, where it takes you, like your legs take you through all of your experiences, and your eyes see like your loved ones, and it's just all of these things where you can be quite neutral and appreciative of exactly what your body does for you, rather than having to be positive about external appearance. Like that really helped me really sit in myself and take a step back and be like, yeah, okay, I don't have to love every part of myself. I might be setting myself up to fail if I do that, but I can come into my body and be like secure in it in that other way.
Yeah. No, I think I saw a video on that as well, and she was kind of saying the same thing. And I agree with that, because like, let's say since I was young I would be like, oh, I don't like my nose or whatever, and if I had the money when I was 15 I probably would have got it done. But I'm so grateful that I had to wait, because it's not that I love my nose, but it's there.
Yeah,
it was given to me. It is given to me from generations of family lineage, and I am grateful that I can carry that with me. I think that's very, very cool. So
yeah, that concept just helped me, because it's like if you're trying to be really positive, you open up the dualistic polar opposite of negative at the same time. So if you can like come into a center, it just, that's the consistency then, and that carried me forward with all of that stuff. But then, you know,
so that was part 1.
Oh my god, that went so quick.
So I know. That will pause. See you in 2 seconds. Oh, okay, right.
Back again.
Those were like, we've got the perfect equipment. Nah.
We've got the same equipment,
I feel
at
like
least.
To break it up, we'll do the cards. So I pull these cards in the morning. They're oracle cards, so but I feel like it'll be cool to kind of pull it for not just us two, but like just in general for whoever's watching, or if anyone's watching.
Whoever's being pulled in by our energy and vibe.
Ooh,
love it.
Mystical.
I was literally about to say mystical. Already connecting.
So yeah, I hope the right messages come out for everyone here, and I'm excited because this morning I pulled out some very relevant very, very relevant cards. So one's turned around, which is called Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts and past lives.
Breaking the...
Yes, team!
Yeah. We were literally talking about that though, like coming up against your current like boundary and breaking the pattern when you need to. Oh my gosh,
yes! I didn't even think about that. What the hell?
Makes sense.
Makes loads of sense. and I will read to you what it means, because I always find like that makes sense, and then once I read this I'm like,
yeah, oh, hang
on. So, it is time to release old soul stories that have been playing out in your life. Oh my gosh.
I mean, is it not? Even just us recording ourselves right now is like doing that for us. Love it.
Okay, anyway, I need to carry on. They are coming up to be healed. Oh, shivers. Okay, there has never been a safer time to clear these patterns than right now.
Yes.
Take a look at patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiry date. It could be a vow of silence or chastity or poverty. It is time to unwind from them. This is a life in which you free yourself from trauma of lives past. Mike, I'm telling you, this is just going to be a tribe of people who are in this life cycle where they're releasing themselves. That is so cool.
I know, and like, I love it because everything, even astrologically, is setting the stage to break that. We're in an entirely new era of Aquarius. We've had Pisces for a couple of thousand years, and we're entering a new era right now. It makes sense to just bring up all of these old patterns and get rid of them. It feels, but like we're doing it as well. It's like when we're like in the energy that's happening. I love it.
Mate, if we can do it, anyone can. Right, so
true that.
what old ways of being have an expiry date? When you name them, you claim them, and they stop holding power over you. All right.
Okay, people pleasing, wanting everyone to love me. Name and claim.
Yes.
Let 'em go.
Yeah, like I would definitely say, so mine's definitely like poverty, lack mindset, that I'm not going to be able to have enough money, I'm not going to be in abundance. I also want to give up the idea that I'm unlovable and that I have to do stuff to deserve love, and that I'm enough as I am. I should be able to sit into my feminine energy. My family is full of misindependence, and it's good, but we also need to balance that energy with just being and letting go of control. So I think definitely those control, like trying to have control.
I agree with all of that, especially just like I'm enough as myself, as I am, I'm enough, because that's something I've always struggled with, and it's nice to feel like ready to get into that space and, you know, push yourself forward. It's just so liberating. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's nice just to finally like, feel that.
Like, I deserve to do what I love. I deserve to hang out with people that I get along with, and they get along with me, and that's realistic enough to believe.
Yeah.
even with, you know what I mean? Even with like, yeah, I might carry shame, or like I've done some bad stuff and mistakes, but what you realise, the more you hang out with people and the closer you get, the more vulnerable you are. You start to realise we've all made mistakes, and no one is perfect. No one is this image of what we want to be, and that is fine. Like, it is absolutely fine. Perfectionism is a killer.
Yes, it is.
So, where have we got? For example, a soul pattern of playing small. That's a good one. Caused by a soul fear of being seen.
I mean, yeah, literally though.
We literally said this.
I know.
Or sharing your voice would have served you by keeping you safe. In order to grow, you now need to soften by receiving and Okay, so sorry guys, my camera just died.
Imperfections and all that. Look, it's the reality, right? This is life.
Oh my god.
I wonder,
that's literally exactly what I was going to say.
I wonder
Sorry.
what you. No. I just wondered what you were saying before your camera actually cut out, because we'll probably laugh at that when we watch it back. You're probably just saying something so important, and then it was like, no.
No. Here's another block.
Power through.
Hang on, we're back.
We're back again. Right. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, it was about sharing your voice, right? So.
Oh, and he tried to cut us off. It's like, share your voice.
In order to grow, you now need to soften by receiving and calling in support. That was it. I was about to call in support. Come on, guys.
Tech support.
And then it just died. It is time to unbind from the old ways of being that are no longer sustainable. So we're all going to hold our hearts as I say this. I release all old soul stories, vows, contracts, and patterns that are no longer aligned with who I came here to be in the present time. I carry the lessons, growth, and gifts, but I no longer choose to live with the same story. May I be unbound, unbound, forever unbound.
Sounds great.
And we are unbound from all that crap.
Released.
And then I'll do one from this, which is the soulful woman one. Thing is, some of these are like, they talk about being a woman, but I'm sure it is very relevant to being a man as well. So
Well,
I can just change the wording.
Feminine energy, still there.
Feminine era is coming.
Oh, yeah, it's incoming. It's here, let's be honest, it's here.
It's here. Look at this dress. Who do I think I am?
It is here.
Okay, so calming back down. Another message. Oh, there it goes.
Was that one?
Appreciation. I love this picture. I'll show you. It's so nice.
Oh, yeah, I like the imagery. I like is that a white dove?
Yeah. I didn't really notice that actually, but it is. So it's like a sign of peace, right?
Very peaceful, yeah.
So it's appreciating the good that exists in my here and now, expands my awareness to all that is good in the universe, which I feel like this is actually such a key thing that I've been working on, because I realized that I found out my attachment style because I noticed myself recreating a cycle with a relationship.
Yeah.
That literally, he said, like I said before, he said exactly the same thing my ex said. And I was like, okay, this must be me. Okay, I got things to work on. And what I realized was that because one of my relationships, I don't know for sure, but it could have possibly been like narcissistic, and basically left me with, there's something called, I highly recommend like looking up your attachment style, because it just says so much, and you also learn about other people's attachment styles, which made me understand like my sister more and things like that.
What does like an attachment style mean? Because like I'm curious.
So for example, mine is a mix of two. So there's one that's like super clingy, and another one that pushes away, and then there's secure attachment style, which is what we want. And then mine's called disordered, fearful, avoidant, which is basically, I've noticed this in friendships, in romantic relationships, I get to a certain closeness, and then I notice myself getting really clingy, and then I push. I'm like, run. Like, I really want to get close, but I also want to run away at the same time. So that's what I was doing, and that can be very confusing for other people. And it's because I think negatively of myself, and I also think negatively of other people. So I don't trust the world, and I don't trust myself, which can be a very, very scary place. But I feel like the moment I found that out and I sat with it, it was a good week. I didn't talk to anyone, and try to understand myself and where that might have come from, what my triggers are, because the triggers happened because it's the smallest of things, right? So he had a blonde friend. My narcissistic ex was obsessed with blonde girls. I'm clearly not blonde at all. I'm very different, like physically in that terms. And he cheated on me with one, and he also touched up my friend, my closest friend, without me knowing, and she only told me recently. Christ. So it was very like, oh my gosh, who can I trust anymore? Yeah. And it's quite a scary realization. But I feel like this is like quite important to talk about because it's such a big catalyst in my life, because it kept me in such a dark place, but it is very possible to get out of once you understand yourself. And things like attachment theory is really, really good to do. It's free. It's literally a free quiz online, and then you can buy their book or whatever if you want. But that's shown me, I'm like, okay, I need to learn to, you know, I can trust people, and other people, you know, not everyone is bad, not everyone's going to be bad, but your brain creates these false narratives because it's just traumatized, it's PTSD. So anytime I see a blonde girl, and I've had more than multiple like close friends who used to manipulate me and bully me, and they've all been blonde for some dumb reason. And it's not that all blonde girls are like that, it's just that that's what it's been so far. And it was such a strong trigger when I saw them interacting that I literally had to leave. I had to leave. And all the girls he's mates with are blonde, whether it's dyed or not. So I was like, you know, like it was a real test for me. And I ended up just running away. Literally, I left the venue without saying. And I was watching myself from an outside perspective, like, what are you doing? Go back. Go back.
I'm just running away because of all the blonde women, like. because I bring up my insecurities and I'm not enough, and he's gonna leave me and reject me, and it's gonna be this all over again. And it just brought this feeling out, and I was like, right, we're gonna create space here, but at the same time my body was like, call him, message him.
Yeah. Attack. Like, no, we're not doing that. And I have learned that over the past however many people I've dealt with. I was like, if they're not putting that, well, it's not the same with him, but if people aren't putting that energy in, like, just create the space. And if you are scared of your own reactions, which I think as a kid I was quite clingy as well, like physically clingy, so it's just a self-coping mechanism that I developed, and now I need to, you know, notice and outgrow, because it's not necessary, and we can be chill.
I love that. That's I really want to do mine because I'm really curious, because I think especially when it comes into like relationships, I know I've got some hardwired patterns that I need to understand why I'm doing them, and I still don't really have too much awareness as to why. It's like the last proper date I went on that we spoke about before, I realised that I literally was on a date with someone that is aggressive and has all of these aggressive tendencies, and I'm like, but this is like what my mum was dealing with my own dad. And then I'm like, generationally it's in me in some way, but it took my mum 30 years to move away from it herself, so I'm like, I need to figure that one out.
Yours might be similar, maybe yours is more avoidant, so I don't know, but do the quiz. But basically, disorganized, fearful, avoidant is where there is safety and love in the same place of danger.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense for me, because I put those together.
Sounds similar.
Yeah.
Because then you're confused, so then you end up attracting people who you kind of make excuses for them, even though they feel dangerous or they're abusive or whatever. But you go, but but they do this loving thing. And basically, as a kid, you look for, because you can't escape, so you have to survive. So you look for love in a dangerous place, in a unpredictable as well. So like with my mind, I assume that the world is unpredictable. So it explains why I can't stay in one place a lot of the time. Because I'm trying to almost pre-predict unpredictability. I'm like, okay, well, if the world's unpredictable, I'll be unpredictable.
I'll be more unpredictable, and then you're just chaotic. I love it though. I love this sort of talk, because it's like, we always talk about really self-development and getting from where we are to who we really are, you know, like, and it's all of this stuff so important, because even things that you feel like you've got no control of, you can at least gain an awareness and move through things that are holding you back. And this just sounds great. Like, I want to do mine, because I think it's gonna be an eye-opener for me just to get some awareness in there.
I think it's life-changing. Like, it literally shifted me like this. And actually, he messaged me today, and they're going to a Turkish restaurant, and I'm half Turkish, if people didn't know. And basically, I was like, as a joke, because I'm busy tonight anyway, but as a joke, I said, why aren't I invited? And he's like, I was going to, but because of what happened, he said, well, you said you were uncomfortable around my friends. And I was like, honestly, that was so irrelevant now, but I understand, because we haven't had that conversation yet. But I'm in a total different energy. I might as well just be a different person. And it doesn't mean that those triggers have completely gone, but now I recognize them. So now I won't run. I won't give power to those triggers.
It's like, in the moment, did you know that a trigger of yours would have been the blonde friend, or is that something that is? So that's the crazy thing, ain't it? Like, you don't even, it makes sense to you now, but in the moment, like, you don't know what's triggering you, and that's what I find so interesting. Is like, if you can gain some awareness on things that are holding you back, there could be something in there that you just aren't recognizing yet from the past, or an unhealed trauma, and it's like, that makes all the difference. You know, it makes all the difference to just be able to identify it and be like, cool, that still is more than likely going to come up in me, but I know what it is now, so I could choose to react in a different way, or in a way that's not gonna facilitate the same patterns that I don't want to, you know, perpetuate, which is insane. Love that.
I think especially if, like, I don't know if you're the same, but like, I've always felt I'm quite highly sensitive, and I've always been told, like, oh, you're really sensitive. And I remember at school, it was the first time I noticed that actually it wasn't always my emotions. It was like, let's say we were in school hall, and I realized that I was picking up on other people's. So that's why I didn't know what the trigger was, because we were in like a pub environment. So it could have been anyone, but I remember talking to her, and my energy just got worse and worse and worse. And all I wanted to do was escape. But it wasn't her that I was escaping, it was the thoughts that were bullying me in my own head. So I was trying to escape myself, which is obviously impossible, but at least it calms down once you take the trigger away. But I didn't realize what the trigger was until I took time out and asked myself, what was it there that was so disruptive and uncomfortable, and why did I don't like feeling like jealousy, or, you know, that's not how I've always been. And the only people I have jealousy for are these random blonde girls who are super bubbly and like wonderful human beings, but they trigger something really, really deep in me, because I'm like, that's who I am at a core essence, but for some reason I won't allow it. That kind of bubbliness and that aliveness and that free feminine energy, when I see it, it really triggers me, because I'm like, what I felt was, I was like, how is she allowed to have such a healthy upbringing? She felt safe when she was being brought up, and it's no one's fault. It's not any family's fault or anything. It's just situation allowed that for her and not for me, for example. And that's because I needed to learn certain lessons. But at the same time, there's a part of me that goes, yeah, but she, you know, she's a couple of years younger than me and she's already ahead because she can be herself. And that can be quite hard to face.
Oh, definitely. I understand that. It's just, it's like the comparison that you draw with other people, ain't it? Like, if you compare yourself to other people, you're just doomed to fail in one way or another, because you'll always find something that maybe they've done that you haven't, or they've got there before you, and it's like, it's so much more complicated than that. But
Exactly.
on a trigger level, it's not. Like, that is just what's triggered you. So at least you can kind of like give some awareness to it and be like, it doesn't make any sense for me or for her in that situation, and I need to value myself rather than putting myself below this person,
Right.
or telling them that they're like, you know, a bad person because of how I feel.
Yeah, that's it. You can't blame other people for the way you feel, because like when I left the situation and he was like, yeah, all my friends thought you were great and really cool and nice, and
of
in my
course
head
they
I was,
would.
but in your own head you're like, they hate me, they think I'm weird, they think I'm quiet, and you know, whatever it is, because you're the one judging. And those judgments, it's almost like one-liners you've taken from other people who have said it to you. One-liners, and they stuck there for life.
Oh yeah,
and
I've got some of them.
It's like on there with Velcro, and you just got to take off these, like, I imagine, like, you know, in primary school they have like Velcro with little, like, I don't know, a word or something.
Yeah.
It's like all attached on your brain, and you just got to just take them off. That's not true. That's not true.
It's like I think we both understand from our past that once you get caught in the judgment that you're kind of casting, but really you're casting it on yourself as well, because those are things you think about you. As soon as you get into that energy, you start to then attract in things that validate that energy, because it's what you're giving out. Like, the sketchier your energy gets, and the more, you know what I mean? Like, when you get into the insecurities, the more you bring in people that, you know, match that. I've brought in a lot of people in the past that have manipulated me because of the insecurities and the energy I was in, and then that's what I gave out and attracted, and then I'm attracting in dangerous people, and it's just like, whoa, it's such a minefield. So then undo it.
Yeah. And also, people might not necessarily be dangerous. Like, I've had friendships or relationships, now looking back, I actually understand now. I used to say it was them, they were bad, they were evil, but firstly, they didn't realise they were triggering things in me. And I couldn't look at myself and understand that I was also playing a part in the pain I was inflicting on myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't even them. They would have been okay with me if I had had boundaries, if I had said no, if I had told them what I was thinking, all of these things.
Oh, also, when you bring that in, they might have changed, that group might have just changed out of your life anyway if it didn't align to that, which is what I found.
Exactly.
Like, as soon as you bring that in, it's like, okay, then it just, everything shuffles around to match what your boundaries are and what you actually want to do.
Exactly, and if they're not okay with it, you shouldn't be afraid to kind of leave that situation. But they're not evil.
No.
It's
just not right for you.
Yeah, they're just not aligned to you and your needs, and that's okay. Like, I have so much forgiveness for everyone who's like rejected me or hurt me, and now I'm like, I get it. I get it, and that's so freeing, and you can just release that. There's no shame, there's no blame as well, absolutely no blame. It's just the way it was, and now we can be better, and there will always be something to learn, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a blessing to get to learn on the school of life.
Oh yeah, it keeps everything fresh, doesn't it? God, if there's nothing else to learn.
Exactly.
I just love it. I just love being able to talk about all of this stuff with you, because it just feels so freeing and liberating, and all of these, like, even just the things that we talk about, I'm like, usually that's just kept inside to me, or I don't really speak about it. So like, even just talking about this and like relating with you about these things, it just shows you like you're not alone, and this is part of life, and there are ways to, you know, move through these energies and break these patterns if they're not serving you. And it doesn't have to be that way. That's something that our chats really give me, because every time we talk, it's so like aligned in these ways, you know. I just wonder if other people like feel that too, because like outside of us, I don't know. I don't know,
isn't
you know?
it?
Yeah.
But there's gotta be, and I see like human interaction should be a catalyst for growth, should be a catalyst for change, and that might be change that you don't want, which might mean separating and going different ways, or it might be them inflicting pain on you. But either way, it is there for growth. And that is a, like, thank you to those who bullied you, to those who rejected you, because in all of that, you learn your own strength, you see yourself. And then the ones who loved you, they show you how to love and receive and love yourself, which is just even better. I'm so grateful for those people. Okay, so finally I'm just going to read this appreciation. I shine my inner light on all the things for which I am presently grateful. I appreciate the abundance that exists in my life right now. For this I am grateful. Appreciating the good that exists in my here and now expands my awareness to all that is good in the universe. For this I am grateful. I start by noticing the smallest things and allowing these to illuminate and grow the joy and love within me. As I do so, I feel a calming effect on my nervous system and a subsiding of tension, fear, and judgment. For this I am grateful. This was the perfect one, because anyone who is struggling with trauma, which is basically everyone, your nervous system is firing up. So make sure, isn't it, like, just take care of your peace, make time for yourself every day, and by being here and now, you can be grateful for the good. You can see the good. The good does exist, and the world isn't all bad, and we don't have to believe that it is.
What a beautiful message.
I feel that.
I do. Like, I'm just nodding along. Like, yeah, I feel it, and that's great. Oh, what a long way we've come in a couple years. I mean, we literally started speaking again in like during the first lockdown. I feel like, right around then, and
I think so.
We'd only met like once or twice before then, like years prior to that, and then we've just came in at this like transformative time in the world and in our own lives, just by chance. And here we are now.
No such thing as chance.
But that's why I did the air quotes. I was like, just by chance everything aligned in that way. But it's just so funny to me, and like we're here now doing this and getting vulnerable. It's just, what a long way. I like
vulnerable with not just us, but being able to be vulnerable in front of others is such a freedom. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that I can be in a space where I can talk about it and not be ashamed.
Yeah.
And it's not because we're better. Absolutely not. Always struggling and learning, and that's the point, is that we can all be free of that shame, and we can all be human. It's just great.
It is great. It's surprising how much vulnerability equals strength. It's not something I ever would have thought before, but I feel the strength from it because it is so freeing and liberating.
Yeah. Because you hear it, but I don't know, I don't think I fully understood it, whereas now I'm like, okay, I get it. Vulnerability isn't just opening up and sharing everything. That's not it. It's just the ability to just be you and face your fears and your triggers and vulnerable enough to grow.
Exactly.
And like, let's say if sharing is your next step to growth, then so be it, but it might not be. Your vulnerability might be being vulnerable and quiet and silent with yourself and spending time alone. It really depends on your own cycle and phase and journey.
I was like, it's like when I sat and listened to myself, I was like, right, what do I need to be myself? You know, like what's in there that I'm not letting out? And then that was only like what 5-6 months ago that I just told my whole family I was like, I'm bisexual, need to get that out. But it's just because it's part of the self-growth, it all feels so organic, and I'm like, I just need to remove any barriers that are stopping me from being me. And once you start that process,
unbound.
Yeah, but like once you start that process and you get real with yourself and get honest with yourself, like that's when it starts to get freeing and the vulnerability becomes liberating. And I'm just very grateful to have started that journey, and I'm very grateful for you as well, because you've been there throughout the whole process of this, and it's been so nice to just find those connective points and those links along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's another thing. Like, life has put that together for us. So, grateful all round.
Yeah, making the most out of people who are there in your darkest times, and still having them there in the light is.
It's been quite a trip, isn't it, really? When you think about the breadth. The breadth of that has just been, crazy. I'm just excited to see what happens next. Always.
Phoenix is rising. Oh. And the imagery. The imagery in this is like rising as well, look.
That's us. Sorry, Leia, I've got to go. My mum's just literally texted me a picture of her on a boat, so she's obviously down at the docks. I don't know what she's doing, so
what?
I think I'm gonna go see what she's up to. Guess I'm going to the docks. She's literally on a boat. Guess she's trying something new. Which is always a good thing.
Yeah, you should join her.
I'm gonna
see where it goes.
Why is my mum on a boat? I don't even know.
What kind of boat?
Hang on, let me show you. Let me see if I can get the picture up. She sent me so many photos. Let me get the good one. She is on this type of boat.
Oh yeah, I know this.
So I don't know what she's up to.
That's exciting. That is exciting.
New experiences.
Time for a trip.
Time for a trip.
So I hope you enjoy your trip.
I will.
And we will speak next week.
Catch you then. Have a good week. Much love as always. Much gratitude.
Cool. Okay. We gotta pause it now.